Welcome to Britain, a Developing Country, a programme that looks at the UK's emerging industries within property development, the arts, lifestyles and culture. Stephen Galpin, one of our resident property experts, is one of the UK's leading property consultants and also a freeman of the City of London. In this show, Stephen attends a Speakers Trust breakfast to meet some of the people behind this initiative and see how it is beneficial to the development of young people across the country. Later, we'll meet some of the students who have benefited from participating in the Speakers Trust programme to see what their views are.
Welcome to Developing Britain. We're here in the West End of London in a very lovely location. We're at the Speakers Trust Business Breakfast, and I'm joined by Sue Warner, who's one of the founders of the charity. Sue, good morning.
Good morning.
Sue, first of all, explain to our viewers what Speakers Trust is all about.
Well, when I set it up originally, which was the early idea came 20 years ago, it was to give a voice to those least heard. So I'd worked with a social work charity, and when the service users were allowed to speak, they said more than anyone else in the room. So I started it, and we've trained over 370,000 people now in schools, in community groups and in charities.
Okay, and what inspired you to register and form this particular charity?
Because late 40s, I experienced the opportunity of going to a speaker club, and that moment in 2 hours I realised that we needed to give a voice to the voluntary sector. We're very hobbit-like in this country. We feel strongly, but we don't speak up and speak out with that clarity and conviction. And it's the simplicity of the programme that makes the difference.
So it's another dimension to education, isn't it? It's an extra dimension that is not really taught in schools.
And it should be taught in schools. It should be central to everyone, that empowering feedback that you can get and that we do. But also asking, particularly the young people, what do they feel strongly about? And in the second half of the day, you're coming back to speak on something you feel strongly about. What should be done about it and why? And the 14, 15-year-olds just go for it.
Now, you started the charity in 2002. You mentioned that you've got 375,000 successful candidates running through the programme. That's wonderful, but just take us through the history. So 2002 you start off. I would imagine like most charity startups it was a struggle. And then somewhere in the mid-2000s, 2006, 2007, you had Sir Jack Peachey come on board, and presumably that was a little bit of a milestone.
Yes, when the Jack Peachey Foundation came on board, it was meeting right funder, right time.
Yeah.
So we were running the programme in schools and in youth work, in youth work organisations. And we'd done it in Islington, where I live, all the schools. And we then were introduced to the Jack Peachey Foundation. Right. The office was still in my house. And we set trainers in charge of each of the London boroughs. We got into 425 schools out of 432 secondaries that year.
Well done. Now, your 375 students, geographically, where have they come from? Is it just the London boroughs?
No, it's extended. We've been right up to all the schools in Shetland and Orkney. But we are London-centric. London and Essex was the Jack Peachey Speak Out Challenge programme. Yes. But we're now in the Midlands, we're now in Greater Manchester, Yorkshire, West Yorkshire, and we are running a lot of programmes in some of the home counties. We want to and aiming for nationwide delivery.
Okay, and your function this morning is for the purpose of?
To build partnerships and to raise funding for the central core of our costs, because we're a very lean organisation with a fantastic staff.
Are you assisted by government or local authorities at all?
No.
Okay, and is that an aspiration?
It should be.
Okay,
we should be heard at the highest level, and we need the voice of young people to be heard at the highest level.
Okay, well, look, Sue, thank you very much for your time. I'm going to let you get back to your event. Very much appreciate your time talking to us, and good luck with the programme.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, we're now with Hilda Adeo, Hilda, you're a student that's worked the way through the programme. Tell us about how it started for you.
So I got first involved with Speakers Trust when I was in secondary school, and I took part in the training part. I didn't make it to the regional or finals, but I did do the initial training. And then I finished school, and then I went to college, then university. But in the meantime, I started to run a project of my own. And through that project, I got back in touch with Speakers Trust. And then since then, I've just been kind of helping out at some of the events. And I guess I worked hard enough to become a young trustee, which is where I am now.
Well, on the way through, you've had obviously coaching of some kind with the Speakers Trust. How have you found that's benefited you through your education?
In terms of the skills that I've developed, it's definitely helped me use my confidence to get to where I need to go in terms of using the opportunities and creating opportunities for myself as well, and overcoming that fear that comes with being a young person and being fearful of failure or judgment. And I think I've used those skills to do that.
And were you mentored on the way through?
I attended some of the training sessions that Speaker Trust offer. I think I had one about 2 years ago that I can still remember.
Okay, so now you've become a young trustee. You've gone from beginning to almost the top. So as a trustee, what are some of your functions now?
So I know that this was my first event today that I've attended as a trustee, and I know that I have to attend some of the board meetings, which I'm really excited about, to contribute some of the ideas that I have, and attend some of the events that I've been doing, and I'm really excited to meet loads of incredible young people.
Good. Well, you're obviously going to be of immense benefit because you've seen the programme from beginning to end, aren't you? So do you work as well as this, or is this a full-time
No, I
occupation?
work and I'm at university still.
And what sort of time do you spend with Speakers Trust, and what sort of time do you imagine you'll be spending with Speakers Trust?
I don't think it's such a big commitment. It's just maybe once or twice a month maybe, so it's quite flexible.
Okay, well, Hilda, we wish you the best of luck with your duties as a trustee. I'm sure you'll do very well.
Thank you.
I'm sure your contribution will be invaluable.
hope so.
You've come from, as I say, beginning to end. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
David Butter, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for your invitation to the Speakers Trust breakfast here. Now, you were a trustee and now chairman of the organisation. Day-to-day challenges. Tell me your typical day.
Well, there's certainly more challenges as chair than as trustee. You can hide a bit when you're a trustee, you know, sometimes. So don't tell the other guys. No, as chair, I wouldn't say it's day-to-day responsibility every day. You've got to be there for issues as they come, but you've got more long-term responsibilities for the long-term direction of the charity, for the governance of the charity, for the long-term fundraising. So I'm working with trustees.
Now, we've heard earlier that you've had over 375,000 students through the programme. That's absolutely marvellous. What sort of challenge does that raise in terms of fundraising?
Well, I mean, it's quite an analog business, if you know what I mean. It's like each time you extend the number of students, you need to extend the resources and so on. And how do you build an organisation that is sustainable over time to keep building with partners and raising funds?
Well, I suppose to some extent it's like any business, isn't it?
It is.
The more successful you are, the worse the cash flow gets, and the strains become even more evident.
Exactly. It's like a business, and my background is in business. I'd say there are some parts of it which are more challenging. That actually funding is always probably more difficult in the charity sector, and people are giving their time working with volunteers and so on. So on the other hand, the upside is wonderful because you're doing something which is primarily about social impact, and the feel-good factor, the feeling that you're making a difference is really what drives everybody on.
Well, I think we were all quite amazed to learn the number of students you've had go through the programme, and as with Hilda just that we've interviewed, it's marvellous to see somebody that started at the very beginning of the programme and ended up as a trustee. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, we're pleased about that, but there's a lot more to go, and there's a lot further we'd like to go, and we are seeking to partner with people, individuals, organisations to build scale across the country. So we're reaching 1 in 5 people in the country. That leaves 4 in 5 that we've still got to cover.
You've got to get to, yes. Okay. So plans for the future in terms of events and funding?
Well, plans for the future, I mean, in some extent, it's more of the same. And there's some new things. Let me say about the more of the same. We have a sustainable, proven model, and that's terribly important.
Yes.
To have something that works, that is deliverable, that we've delivered year on year, and we know that we can scale from. We know that it works. As you say, we've been have had people through the process who've come out the other end, and we've seen the results. So we know we've got something that works. So we don't want to change, if you will, a winning team. At the same time, the world changes, communications change into a digital world, the needs of organizations, the issues in the country change. So we need to always be looking outwards and not just inwards, looking outwards at, I didn't expect to use the word Brexit during this conversation, but the needs of the country to be doing things differently, to listen to young people more closely, to provide platforms for young people. They become ever more urgent, ever more important, and we need to take that ever more seriously.
Well, you've mentioned Brexit, and I mean, I think it's a shining example of the country wanting to speak out at this particular time, and
Absolutely.
It's up to us all, isn't it, to put those skills in our young people's hands. So there we are. David, you're doing a fabulous job. Thank you very much for the invite this morning. We're all very grateful, and we wish you the very best of luck with your project.
Pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
After the break, Stephen speaks to Russell Finley, the CEO of the Speakers Trust, and Frankie Rushton, the Director of Programmes. We'll then meet some of the students who have participated in the programme and get their views on the experience. Before the break, Stephen spoke to Sue Warner, one of the founders of the Speakers Trust, and to David Butter, the chairman of the organisation. We also heard from Hilda Adeo, one of the programme's alumni, who has benefited from the programme. In this half, we're going to meet Russell Finley, the CEO of the Speakers Trust, and Frankie Rushton, the Director of Programmes, and then meet some of the students who have participated in the programme.
I'm with Russell Finley, CEO of Speakers Trust. Russell, good morning.
Good morning.
As we thanked your chairman, I'm going to thank you for our invitation here to your business breakfast. What a splendid location, what a great cause. You're CEO, you're full-time in the Trust then, so tell me about your average day.
There is no average day. My role is really to try and meet the aspirations of our trustees to grow the charity, to improve its impact and to ensure we're financially sustainable, and then lead the team that's making it happen on the ground day in, day out.
Okay, how long have you been with the charity?
I joined the charity at the turn of the year, so I've been here about 11 months. Before Speakers Trust, I've been running sports charities for the last 15 years, all with the common theme of helping young people develop themselves.
Right. Well, obviously Speakers Trust does that. We've seen a sort of living example of that this morning, of which I'm sure you're all very, very proud. Where do you see the Trust moving to next? I mean, geographically, you're spreading out, you're reaching further parts of the country.
So Speakers Trust has got two real ambitions. One is to broaden our reach, and as you say, we'd like to colour in the map. We'd like to make sure that our work reaches every young person, and in particular reaches those young people who can benefit most from our work, so those who come from disadvantaged backgrounds or where the opportunity to get programmes like ours isn't there. The second area we have as a real priority at Speakers Trust is continually increasing the impact that we have. So the work we do helps young people thrive, whether that's in employment or developing their education. But the second and really important aspect is that it helps them find their voice and affect social change by being heard.
Yes. Russell, tell me, just on an absolutely practical basis, how do you get into a school? How do you get a school to engage with you?
Speakers Trust will get funding from individual donors or from grants, and that enables us to get in touch with schools in a region and invite them to be part of the programme. The school will take young people off timetable for a day and get involved in a workshop that lasts about 5 hours. When we start that workshop, over half the young people don't have the confidence to say much more than their name in front of their classmates. By the end of it, every young person gives a 3-minute speech on a subject that they really care about.
Right. And how does the school engage? Do they sign up to a programme with you? Do they?
So every school that we work with agrees to be part of our programme. And what that means from the school is they take young people off timetable for a day, give them the opportunity to learn communication skills, which don't tend to be on the national curriculum, despite it being the most commonly cited skills gap in employment. So the school get us in, our qualified trainer goes through a programme where we deliver that workshop, and then the school can take that beyond our involvement to have an assembly where young people speak at, and then get involved in what we see as the competitive side of our programme, but really an opportunity for young people to have their voices heard in their community. So having fora where we will put someone from every school in an area on stage speaking to people in their local community.
That's good. And just going back to your funders, do you find that the funder, perhaps who makes a good contribution to you, will want to promote schools within his sort of geographical location?
We often find a geographical match between a trust, foundation or an individual who wants to donate to Speakers Trust. And the reason why is that they see young people in their geography who don't get these opportunities day in, day out to learn really, really important life skills, and they want to make a difference to their community. So anyone who cares about young people's development and their opportunities finds a way through Speakers Trust to make that happen.
Okay. Russell, you're obviously doing a great job with the Trust. Your trustees are obviously fully behind you. Your results are a matter that speak for themselves. Well done, and thank you very much again for your invitation this morning. Thank you. Frankie Rushton, good morning. You're Director of Programmes for Speakers Trust. So what I'd like to know is, we've talked briefly with one of your colleagues about the interaction with schools. Practically, how do you get a school on board?
Working with a new school, we'd get in contact with them, usually by telephone initially or by email, to be able to talk about the opportunity that we would have for their students. And in our programmes, that can often be one of our trainers coming in to visit that school, delivering a full day's workshop, often free of charge, and being able to work with a group of 25 to 30 students to be able to build their communication skills. So these are communication skills for life. They're not just for an interview or for standing on stage. They're for everything and every way you might use them.
Well, I can obviously see the benefit. I just wonder, all areas are different. Some schools are rather more challenged with their students than perhaps others. That can come down to deprivation of area, lack of investment in the area sometimes. I mean, I can think of areas in London where within 50 yards you have super expensive sort of tower blocks with £1 million apartments, and on the other side of the road you have areas that have really suffered without investment. And of course this does throw challenges to children. It throws challenges in terms of both educational and social activities. I wonder, how do the schools cope with reaction from the children? I mean, speaking out, public speaking is not a natural function for a young person. So how do they attract them in?
So I guess the way that our programme works is it's a step-by-step activity where we build the communication skills slowly and in a really fun way. So it's not sort of, you don't start at the beginning of the day and you're on the stage delivering a speech. It's working with people to progressively build that skill set and build their confidence in themselves, but also in one another as they listen to one another and share their stories and hear their stories from their peers. You're in a position to be able to learn things that you might not have known about the people you sit next to every day in class.
Okay.
But it's about that support.
So you've perhaps attracted a group of 25 in the school that will participate. What would the sort of typical attrition rate be of that 25? Would you end up at the end of the year with still 12 or 15? Or?
The intervention that we offer is predominantly a one-day intervention where we work with over 30,000 young people each year.
Right.
And then that intervention works with young people building their communication skills, but then after that we have a progressive sort of competition opportunity for students that want to go ahead. So I guess we start with 30,000 each year, and then the programme will continue for those that are keen to participate on that competition element to various events where we provide an opportunity to showcase what young people care about and what they want to share with an audience.
Okay. So coming to the ultimate function, if you like, that's then the showcase at the end of the year, is it?
The ultimate function of the programme is building the communication skills for young people. But the opportunity to be able to share what someone cares about and be able to provide a platform for them to be heard is a really important part of our programme. Now that might just be in a classroom, but to know that you can be heard in that space, or to be heard on a stage by a wider audience of the local community is also really.
I mean, what I'm trying to get to is the student who participates, I'm looking at the end goal for them.
Yes.
It's not always easy to say, well, do you know, this is going to benefit you looking for a job, it's going to benefit you in college or university. So just that ultimate goal for that year to keep them involved is
to build their confidence and be confident in being themselves.
Well, that's splendid. Now look, that's obviously working very successfully. As your chairman says, he doesn't really want to change anything because it's so successful, and you're obviously a key part of that success. So thank you very much for talking to us this morning. Thank you for your time.
Pleasure.
My name's Abdurrahf Damin. I'm 15. I attend Leyton School. Jack Pitchy was a Speak Out challenge that was hosted all around UK, and it was a challenge for public speaking for students within year 10. When they came to my school, we held a workshop where we just trained, practice, and just improve our public speaking, where they nominated a student to represent Leyton School, and that student appeared to be me. So a lot of hard work, dedication in improving my speech, having support from the school, from my teachers, from my peers, everyone's listening, giving me suggestions so I can improve. From that's when it was the regional finals. It was hosted in Lambeth School, and it was an honourable and beautiful day. It was very memorable, something that I'll be thinking for the next few years and for my childhood. What it meant to me was that on the day I left that day, knowing that I won, just gave me a pure insight into public speaking, knowing that I can do it again. I'm going to be more confident. I've got that, I've built it, and I've got to a stage where I've just relaxed myself, and that speaking skills help me to help others. So because of that, I'm able to help a lot of people who are not so confident. However, but they have the potential to be confident, but they just don't know it themselves. This is why I'm helping a lot of people, and a lot of students, peers, family members come up to me, and I can provide a lot of tips and advice for them.
So I wrote about markings, and it's for me about how I grew up as a child and what I had to go through and the things that people said about me and stuff like that. So.
Well, I wrote about how sometimes it's hard to be a high achiever in school, but how other students might get disregarded while we're labelled as the best students. So we're often told that we have the best opportunities and we can do anything, but other students aren't really told the same thing. So I think it's about telling everybody that they can do anything they want to do and taking your opportunities and running with it.
It's an honourable thing, honestly, for me to represent my school in a Speak Up challenge. It just shows that I'm able to come on stage and talk about something which I'm passionate about, something that I can be confident about to talk about and be more comfortable, okay? Because I don't want to have an audience and just seeing something that they just don't feel comfortable because I'm not comfortable about it. That's the whole point why I believe in this challenges: talking, being confident and being comfortable.
It was a really good experience for me because it meant that I was able to share something with other people that people might not have heard before, and it meant that I knew people were listening, wanted to hear what I had to say, which is good because teenagers don't often get the chance to share what we think about things and generally get a reaction. So I think it's a really good opportunity.
I was shocked at first because I didn't know. There was amazing other speakers as well, so I wasn't really expecting for me to be first, but now that they said it, I'm very shocked. I'm amazed to see what's going to come in the future.
I was really, really pleased because the lead up to the Jack Pitchy Speak Out Challenge, it went so fast, and all the practicing and everything, it was a lot to stay after school and come in at lunchtimes and come out of my lessons and stuff. So it's really good that all the work that we did, and my drama teacher did, and all my friends coming to support me, all paid off.
Talk about something that inspires yourself and just be you on stage. Don't be like anyone else. Be yourself.
Bye.